The headlines. Pope Francis seeks end to violent clashes in Nigeria, prays for peace. Southwest governors visit Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, decry violent dimension of EndSARS protests in the state. Plus, National Examinations Council, NECO, postpones examination indefinitely. We'll begin in Lagos, where Southwest governors and ministers have paid a condolence visit to the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the people of the state following the aftermath of the EndSARS protests, which resulted in loss of lives and destruction of public and private property. The Southwest governors, led by its chairman, Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, as well as ministers from the region, sympathized with those that lost their lives and property in the coordinated arson attacks on public assets and private property in the state.
Undoubtedly, all surprised at the extent of damage that we have seen in Lagos. We would be right to say Lagos was turned to a war zone, because the damage could have been worse than this if we were at war. What has led to this is what we cannot fathom, and a lot of ideas, a lot of suggestions, a lot of issues have been raised. Is it the spread of fake news and videos? Or are there other reasons? But no doubt this will come out later.
The federal government has again appealed to youths to stop violence and embrace peace in the aftermath of the EndSARS protests. Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who led a federal government delegation to Akwa Ibom State, was speaking at a meeting after inspecting the destroyed property in Uyo, the state capital. Kelvin Samuel reports.
In the aftermath of EndSARS hoodlums wanton destruction and looting of valuable items worth multi-million naira, the federal government has continued to show concern to the people, especially those directly affected. While in Akwa Ibom State, the delegation took time to visit and inspect areas directly affected. Anchor Insurance Outfit, Akwa Ibom State Broadcasting Corporation, recreational centers, and other places destroyed by the hoodlums. After the inspection, the federal government delegation held a meeting with the people and reassured that the federal government, in collaboration with the state government, will do everything possible to restore lasting peace in the state. The meeting agreed that since the Akwa Ibom state government had aligned with the federal government to constitute a panel of inquiry over the unfortunate happenings, affected persons and other well-meaning citizens should submit their memorandum for government attention.
EndSARS movement has made the point. Judicial commissions of inquiries have been set up. Government is looking into police reform, and in fact, even the increase in salary. All those were well-intentioned. But please stop going out. Let the protests come to an end. Let us now go into major reform so that we can see the result of the protest, so that those that the hoodlums came and killed will not die in vain.
Whatever complaint, genuine or otherwise, go to the Commission of Inquiry. Even those whose properties were destroyed in the last 24 or 48 hours, please take your complaints to that Judicial Commission of Inquiry and it will be addressed.
The stakeholders meeting also attended to issues and questions raised. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has made a passionate appeal to Nigerians to avoid all sentiments and bias capable of threatening national security, maintaining that the sovereignty and unity of the country is sacrosanct and non-negotiable. The President's message was delivered by the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, and that of Agriculture, Mohammed Sabo Nanono, at a forum tagged Kano Stakeholders Peace Talks, which held to restore normalcy across the country, the Kano State. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports.
Suffice to say, this is not the best of time for Nigeria, as youth demonstration to protest the excesses of anti-robbery squad went berserk after it was hijacked by hoodlums, leading to wanton destruction of lives and property, thereby paralyzing socio-economic activities in some parts of the country. This stakeholders meeting, which is at the instance of President Muhammadu Buhari, attracted heads of security outfits, religious leaders, and representatives of various ethnic communities in Kano, seeking to consolidate on peace to restore normalcy in affected areas.
Everybody should know that you have the right to do whatever you want to do in this country as guaranteed by the Constitution. But you have no right to deny any other human being his right. And that's why the government will not take it easy for anybody who hinders the progress of any other person in this country. And that's why whatever you see us doing, we are doing it according to the constitutional requirement of our country. And we must be sure we enforce whatever is enforceable for the interests of the greater number of people in this country.
We welcome this initiative by the two ministers about peace and stability in Nigeria to enlighten people. Everyone needs to embrace this peace. Our youths should agree with what are the platforms that His Excellency the Governor have put in place where they can hear their view.
The two ministers, indigents of Kano, acknowledged some of the security challenges bedeviling the country and efforts being made to restore and preserve the sanctity of the nation. They also enumerated on the achievements of the present administration to date. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi, RIA, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the immediate mobilization of all police operational assets and resources to bring to an end the wanton violence, killings, looting and destruction of public and private property, and reclaim the public space from criminal elements masquerading as protesters. A statement by the force says the IGP gave the order to all Assistant Inspectors General of Police, Commissioners of Police, Heads of Police Operational Units, and Squadron and Base Commanders in charge of Zonal, State and FCT commands. The IGP, while noting that enough is enough to all acts of lawlessness, disruption of public peace and order, which have resulted in indiscriminate looting of shops, malls and warehouses, damage to property and loss of lives in some parts of the country, enjoins law-abiding citizens not to panic but rather join forces with the police and other members of the law enforcement community to protect their communities from the criminal elements. In another development, the federal government says it is committed towards building a world-class police force in a bid to ensure better service delivery in securing lives and property. Minister of Police Affairs Mohammed Megari Dingyadi stated this at a press briefing in Sokoto. Musa Abubakar reports.
It's been trying week for the country, and the Ministry of Police Affairs is up and doing to see law and order is reinstated. This briefing is to reassure the public on the ongoing efforts by the federal government to reform the police force as well as collaborate with community leaders in promoting peaceful coexistence.
May I at this juncture appeal to the protesters to please all of the protests which have been hijacked by criminal elements who do not wish this country well. Let me reassure that demands of EndSARS protesters are being made by government. We also want to call on our brothers and sisters on the streets to join hands with government in ensuring implementation of demands that require inclusiveness for the overall goal of peace and security of our dear country.
The reform includes, among other things, prosecution of erring officers, equipping and improving the welfare of the police, as well as the formation of special weapons and tactical units. In Sokoto, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Let's turn our attention to security matters now, and troops of Operation Lafayette Dole have eliminated 16 terrorists and in different operations in Borno State within the last 4 days. A statement by the Acting Director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Oyeuko, indicates that the operations were conducted by troops of Operation Fireball and those from the Nigerian Army super camps in Magumeri and Malam Factory. Brigadier General Oyeuko notes that several gun trucks, anti-aircraft and other arms were recovered from subdued terrorists in different counter-attacks in troops' locations in Magumeri and Malam Factory in Borno State. Operation Fireball is a subsidiary operation under Operation Lafia Dole, recently launched by the Nigerian Army to mop up terrorists and other criminals hibernating in the northeast. To education matters now, and arising from a crucial meeting over the ongoing 2020 examination, the governing board of NECO has resolved that the 2020 SSCE internal be postponed indefinitely in view of the current security challenges caused by the EndSARS protests, which disrupted the smooth conduct of the examinations in some parts of the country. The board noted that due to these security challenges, some state governments imposed curfews and also closed schools in order to safeguard lives and property, and it has become therefore difficult for the council to move examination materials across the country. Sequel to this, students in the affected locations were unable to sit for the papers already scheduled in the examination timetable. The governing board further resolved that when normalcy returns, the council will continue with the conduct of the examinations in all states. You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll take a quick break now. More stories afterwards. Do stay with us.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating, "The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms." On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youth and civil society as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
Issa too like football on Top Go TV, so tey him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and the family suppose come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, GoTV get correct football action wey make sense. Get GoTV decoder wey come with 1 month GoTV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. GoTV, live it, love it.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thanks for remaining with NTA International. Let's now take you to Imo State, where Governor Hope Uzodimma has announced a downward review of the 24-hour curfew declared in the state, following the gradual return to normalcy. Bright Ibochuo reports that the governor made this known in a statewide broadcast in Owerri.
This is the third broadcast by the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma in less than 1 week following the outbreak of violence arising from the EndSARS protest. While acknowledging the gradual return of normalcy in the state, the governor says available intelligence report shows that perpetrators of the mayhem unleashed on security operatives and state institutions were sponsored to wreak havoc in the state. He therefore announced a review of the 24-hour curfew, stressing that the duration will henceforth be from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Let all those who mastermind to the unprecedented carnage and wanton destruction of public and private property in the state be assured that they will not escape the long arm of the law. My esteemed Imo people, as the situation in the state and the country gradually returns to normal, it is necessary to begin to relax the curfew announced on Wednesday. Consequently, the curfew will now start from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day for now. However, those unapproved essential services are exempted.
In line with his determination to meet the needs of the youths, Governor Uzodimma announced the release of 2 billion naira take-off fund out of the 6 billion naira earmarked for Accelerated Youth Empowerment Program.
The 2 billion naira take-off fund will be deployed for the training of the first batch of the beneficiaries of this scheme, which will commence next week. The program will train in the first, second, and third batches an estimated number of 500,000 Imo youths in different skill acquisition programs within the next 2 years.
In Owerri, Bright Ibuchu, NTA News.
And in Ekiti State, the government has advised that looted items from government warehouses and silos in Ado-Ekiti are not meant for human consumption, as the seedlings have been treated with chemicals only for planting purposes. Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Olabode Adetoyi, who gave the advice, said government would soon roll out various plans to engage the youth in meaningful agriculture-related ventures as a way of lifting many of them out of unemployment, while also addressing some of their agitations. Yemi Dalimo completes the report.
Strategic reserves and emergency platforms in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State capital, were not spared by the hoodlums who claimed to have been looking for COVID-19 palliatives believed to have been stored in those locations. Though they succeeded in cutting away some items, including maize, rice, and fertilizers, which they erroneously believed to be gari, the state government said the stolen items were not palliatives but treated seedlings meant for planting.
I will implore us not to eat it at all, not to soak it in a cold or hot water. It cannot remove the chemicals from it. Please do not be deceived. Don't let us put ourselves on untimely death.
The commissioner, who advised against acts of vandalism, looting and stealing in the name of protest, said government will soon roll out measures to engage many youths in Ekiti State and take them out of unemployment.
Youth in commercial agricultural development, which I'm also overseeing, we want to employ more people into agriculture. We have created a special agri-processing zone where 40,000 hectares of land will be cleared and mechanized. Ekiti youth will be employed.
Sanity is, however, gradually returning to the town. In Ado-Ekiti, Yemi Dalimo, NTA News.
Pope Francis, during the Sunday Angelus, appealed for an end to violent clashes in Nigeria. From his studio above St. Peter's Square, the Pope said he was following with particular concern the news that is coming out of Nigeria. He mentioned the violent clashes between security forces and a number of young people protesting. He prayed to the Lord so that any form of violence might be avoided in the constant search for social harmony, in the promotion of justice and the common good. Spain declares new national state of emergency amid rise in COVID-19 cases, just as Colombia becomes the second country in Latin America to hit 1 million COVID-19 cases in less than a week. Over now to Joyce Ometu to give us an update on the pandemic.
Italy's Prime Minister has now given his press conference announcing new restrictive measures and warning that the country's escalating coronavirus infection rate is now having a worrying impact on hospitals. Italy's daily case numbers have increased by 5-fold since October 8th. In Spain, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has declared a new nationwide state of emergency in the hope of stemming resurgence in coronavirus infections. The Prime Minister told the nation in a televised address that the extraordinary measures goes into effect on Sunday. Spain in the outgone week became the first European country to surpass 1 million confirmed cases of coronavirus. Meanwhile, cases in Colombia have surpassed 1 million, becoming the second country in Latin America to report that number in less than a week. Colombia is the 8th country to top 1 million infections after US, India, Brazil, Russia, Spain, France, and Argentina. Worldometer dashboard as at 6 p.m. Nigeria time indicates that of the 43,057,915 cases registered globally, 31,741,700 patients have recovered, while 1,156,240 deaths are recorded. The world saw an increase of more than 2.9 million new cases in the past 7 days, with more than 40,000 fatalities. Back home, a review of official data by the Center for Disease Control showed that in the week just ended, Nigeria recorded a cumulative sum of 623 new cases, 6 new COVID-19 related deaths, while 728 recovered patients were discharged from various isolation centers. After recording 48 new cases on Saturday, Nigeria now has 61,930 confirmed cases, 53,285 recoveries, and 1,129 fatalities. And that ends this segment. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thank you, Joyce, for that update. Now, over 3,000 residents of Gona community in Akko local government area of Gombe State are to benefit from a free medical outreach by the Nigeria Air Force. The 2-day outreach is part of the social responsibility programs being carried out by the force. Balgum Samari reports.
Flagging off the program, Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Haya expressed appreciation to the force for its contribution to the health sector, adding that as a security outfit, the Air Force is also offering free medical care to the community.
I see this outreach as the greatest thing that can ever happen. This is very amazing, this is very encouraging concerning the level of poverty that our people pass through, especially this time that the coronavirus are put a reverse landing there on all economic activities.
The Air Officer Commanding said the gesture is part of appreciation to the state and the host community.
The essence of this outreach is to reach out to the less privileged who don't have the privilege of having a healthcare services. If you recall, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Bababwaka, in his drive to ensure that communities where the Air Force base are domiciled benefit from the social, the military-civil relationship. And because of that, we are here to appreciate the community where the Air Force base in Gombe, that the 203 Combat Reconnaissance Group is domiciled.
Members of the community expressed gratitude to Nigerian Air Force for the gesture, assuring continuous support at all times. The free medical service includes free laboratory tests, drugs, eyeglasses, and treated mosquito nets, among others. In Gombe, Balgum Samari, NTA News.
A bit on the environment now, and the EndSARS protests in the country seem to have made many Nigerians forget the existence and the threat of floods in several states. From Azikoro, a community in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, NTA Fineface reports that indiscriminate disposal of refuse is now threatening the survival of the people as floodwaters surge through the community.
Azikoro community in Yenagoa, Bayelsa state, oozes a strong foul smell. It was easy to assume that the smell is from a decaying object in the floodwater, which has covered the community. As the picture became clearer with sites of open defecation.
Some people now, when they drag them, now that time, then they just say, this thing, why they do no good. Even with this water, sickness day, somebody go still come, once still they defecate. For this the same water again, you say people they put leg.
Members of the community got early warnings about the flood. They did not prepare for it. Debris heaped in parts of the community now floats back to homes contributing to the stench.
The flood has covered all the refuge we have, and the thing is moving into houses, causing a lot of diseases, causing a lot of problems in the community. We are really facing a major problem this time around.
This Bayelsa, before the flood come, we hear say flood they come. They supposed to open the canal before the water. Now what they call open the place. Now see how the place is there now. Children they fall and the water now they move. Leg they tear. The water now they cause her. So sickness every day. Also this water now it carry many things. They come.
But Azikoro is not the only community affected by the flood. All the 8 local government areas of the state are affected. Amasoma in southern Ijo, Kolokuma, Opukuma, Ekeremo, Ogbia, and parts of Yenagoa are among the worst hit.
I reminded NDDC again for them to come and sanfill the community and to pile the waterfront, because in every year the sea level is higher than the land. So from September, beginning of September till October, you see the water rushing into the community.
The people feel neglected in their time of need, but the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says help is on the way.
We are appealing to them that, as usual, we are working, in a concerted effort with the state to see that succor is provided to those communities. And I can assure in no distant time that succor will come from the federal government.
As is the case in many states, the situation in Azikoro resounds the need to take early warnings about flood seriously. NTA Fineface, NTA News.
Southampton beat Everton 2-0 Sunday in the English Premier League. Manzi Marcus has this and other reports on Sports Update.
The Nigeria Football Federation has fixed Wednesday, October 28 as tentative date for the technical crew of the Golden Eagles to open camp in Abuja and plan